Welcome back, guys. I'm Temperance, and today we're going to go over the top 10 books that you need to read if you are a beginner and you're not Wiccan. One of the questions that I see pop up for beginners a lot is, what books do I read and what would you recommend? I get this question especially a lot because I run a book club page, Books for Witches, on Instagram, but I get this pretty much regularly as well. I find that a lot of book recommendations are pretty consistently full of Wiccan authors or Wiccan content, and there are a lot of people that are looking for other types of books like me. So I've broken down my top 10 books into two phases. The first section of books is foundational texts that everyone should read, and the second set are books that will enhance your practice. So let's get into them. So first, I'd like to talk about foundational texts. The first foundational text is going to be Love is in the Earth, A Kaleidoscope of Crystals by Melody. This is the updated version. It's the reference book describing the metaphysical properties of the mineral kingdom. This is a 720 plus page textbook. 53 of those pages are solely dedicated to quartz crystal. I love this book. I think it's an essential resource if you're just starting out on your witchcraft path. It is not tinged with any specific belief system. It talks about the crystals themselves, the astrological signs that those crystals are found under, where you can find the crystals, what they would look like, their colors. It talks about chakras, it talks about what the crystal can be used for spiritually, it talks about what the crystal can be used for physically, it talks about what the crystal can be used to treat ailments and diseases, it talks about vibrational numbers. Every crystal pretty much is in this manual, and it is such a great resource. I did not find it new. This book was originally published in 1991, and they don't still make it anymore. I found mine on eBay for about $20, and it was probably the best $20 I've ever invested in a book in my library. I have come back to this book so many times because crystals just escape me. And even if you don't love crystals, you need this book. And if you do love crystals, you especially need this book. You're going to get so much out of it, and it's a great resource. The second book in what I would describe as a foundational text is 78 Degrees of Wisdom, a book of tarot by Rachel Pollack. This is one of the older versions of it. I mean, it's still pretty new, to be honest with you, because the book itself is old. I think this is like the 2012 version. There's an even newer version. I'll just pop it over here in the screen somewhere. I love this book because it is one of the first, if not the best, resources in depth on tarot cards. This book has been a great resource for me throughout the years. It goes through all the cards, regular and reversed. It talks about different spreads that you can use the cards, and it really breaks down the imagery, and it was the first time a tarot book had actually clicked. So 78 Degrees of Wisdom by Rachel Pollack is great. The next foundational text that I think every witch, regardless of skill level, should have is Astrology for Real Life by Teresa Reed. This is the best book on astrology that is out there, hands down, I will tell you that. This is the first book that made it click for me. It breaks down your chart, it talks about zodiac signs, planets, retrogrades in the natal chart. It goes through the houses in the housing system. It talks about hemispheres, different charts, different housing systems. It talks about all of the planets and a breakdown of those planets. It talks about transits and how to work with astrology in your craft. Super great. The best book that is out there. The next foundational text is Blackthorn's Botanical Magic, a green witch's guide to essential oils for spellcraft, ritual, and healing. So I know some of you might be like, why didn't you put the green witch here? Because I felt like that book kind of overlaps with a ton of the other books that I'm already explaining. This book to me is special because it breaks down plant correspondences, It breaks down some ritual and spell work, but really it all throws it into this nice package of essential oils, how to work with them, how to make them, how to use them. And I find that essential oils are a beginner witch's best friend, especially if you're in the closet, because you can take oils anywhere. Oils are really popular right now. They're on the market everywhere. And this book allows you to make them and puts those tools into your hand to start your spell work now. So I love how it breaks down plants and the correspondences. This is an essential book, I think. The last foundational text is The Black Arts by Richard Cavendish. This is obviously an old version. Here's what the new one looks like. In the back of this book, it says it goes through this: the underlying theory and rationale of necromancy, psychic attacks, the foundations of alchemy and witchcraft, the control of evil spirits, astrology, the tarot, ceremonial magic, summoning, the rites of black mass, and the origins of Satan. This book goes so much deeper than that. It's an amazing book. It's a history book. It's not really a spell book, but you're gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna teach you everything that you do need to know, that you should know something about. A lot of Wiccan authors do not touch this material, and you need to know it. This is all super foundational stuff. So amazing, amazing book. Cannot say enough good things about it. Could not fit it in here if I tried. Next up, we're going to talk about some books that I consider like phase 2 that are after you've done foundational reading. So first is going to be The Psychic Witch by Matt Aron. This book is phenomenal. It is the best book probably on like psychic witchcraft or like psychic mental energy work that I've probably ever read. It's super beginner friendly. It breaks everything down so easy. It's full of exercises and ritual, and it's very well put together. It's got a really long bibliography. It's well sourced. It's readable. It's personable. It's everything I wish I had when I was starting out. It's fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and link this one down below. You should definitely pick it. Next is Inner Witch by author Gabriella Herstick. This is a small but mighty book. This book pretty much hits everything that you would want it to hit in a beginner book. It almost should have been in the foundational books, to be honest with you. It touches on literally everything. It touches on correspondences, it touches on herbs, it touches on crystals, it touches on tarot, moon cycles, planet phases, astrology, tarot cards. If you want it, it is in this book, and it's a really great accessible read. I learned a lot reading it, and you know, I think at any level that you're at, you're gonna enjoy this book. What makes it really truly unique is that it has a whole section on glamour and fashion magic, which isn't touched on in other books, and I really appreciated how Gabriella brought that flavor into this book. So if you want just a kind of overview in general, Inner Witch is going to be your book. If you're searching for your path, I always suggest people picking up Besom, Sting, and Sword. This is going to tell you if Left Hand Path is right for you or not. I find this as a litmus test book. It's a guide to traditional witchcraft, sixfold path in the hidden landscape. This pretty much hits everything that you would want to know about traditional witchcraft, and I like how the author describes it. At its very core, it's a chimera of folk magic, shamanism, history, ancestor veneration, and a respect for the land, but can be difficult to pin down its actual definition. This book talks about so much. It talks about traditional witchcraft, it talks about the author's personal practice, magic and spells, divination, herbalism, the hidden landscape, necromancy, hedge witchery, Sabbats, lunar year, and the crooked path. I love this book. I think it's a great introductory text to traditional witchcraft. It's my preferred American version. There are other types of traditional witchcraft, but for American witchcraft, this is killer. It's a great book. And going into other types of traditional witchcraft, we have the book Traditional Witchcraft, A Cornish Book of Ways by Gemma Gary. I'm such a fan of Gemma Gary, and this book did not disappoint. This is about Cornish traditional witchcraft, and it hits everything. The cunning path, witchcraft and magic, witch's compass, tools, rites, fury nights. I mean, this book is fantastic. If you ever wanted to know pretty much anything about anything, Gemma Gary has a book for you, and this is the book for traditional witchcraft. It is so great to see a folk traditional witchcraft that is Cornish based. Fantastic. I'm going to link it below. Last up is a book of Pagan Prayer, and this book is a little different than everything that I have brought up, and think potentially the author is even Wiccan. So I'm sorry, I guess I lied. Only 9 of my 10 books are not Wiccan. But this book is great because it takes you down the path of prayer, which I think people lose when they come to paganism. And this really brings it back to how you pray, what you can use prayers for, because the role of prayer isn't gone once you become a pagan or once you turn to witchcraft. And this book kind of puts that front and center. It's small, it's compact. I read it literally every single day. This is one of the newer versions. There's going to be an even newer version coming out later this year, and I'm super pumped. So that is that, a book of Pagan Prayer. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys later.